Hello, welcome back, everybody, for PCS1 APAC. 3 matches in the book. All of Erangel has been completed, and we head over to Miramar very shortly, Jordan, where potentially we might see things just mixing up a bit in terms of some of the teams and how they perform on Miramar compared to Erangel.
Yeah, I mean, well, things kind of mixed up in game number 3. Obviously, Q confirmed not being able to go back to back to back. Bit of a tough ask, to be fair. Taking a quick look at the top 5 kills from today, or the player with the top 5 kills, or whatever. You know what you're looking at. It's Aisaki, 12 kills on the board. He's doing well for himself. Not too much of a surprise, given that Cerberus are at the top end of things. What is interesting is that Levi's from Divine is in second place. Would have expected to probably see a couple more players from Cerberus, a couple more players from Q Confirm, but I guess maybe they're sharing the load a little bit more so than some of the teams that are lagging behind a little bit, where Levi's may be leading from the front and the rest aren't quite being able to pick up the same amount of kills. Looking at the top damage, it's Heisaki again, which is not too much of a surprise, I guess. Being top kills does tend to lead you towards top damage as well. Jukesy in second place is pretty cool though, Xenox, where haven't really seen too much, I guess, from Fury as far as the kills are concerned, but it seems like they're a kind of team that always puts a lot of damage in and doesn't seem to be able to put the kills across, because we saw this exact same thing in the Charity Showdown as well.
Yeah, exactly. Jukesy's looking pretty good for himself there as well. Love the helmet for the pick. He's looking clean with the tie. Svit, Jen, Xiaoman. So a lot of Q confirmed, a lot of Cerberus. No surprises really there with both kills and, of course, now the damage as well so far after 3 matches. Although that's the thing, right? It's only been 3 matches, Jordan. We've still got 2 more to play out, at least for tonight. 20 in total, of course, for all the PCS1 APAC. As we head into Miramar for match number 4, do we expect to see any massive changes, or are the trends that we've been seeing, the Q confirms, the Cerberuses, are they going to continue to sort of dominate here on Miramar?
Well, one team that does tend to generally do a little bit better on Miramar has historically been Incognito, aka Fury, so maybe something for them there. They've been putting in some good games so far today. I wonder whether or not they'll be able to pick themselves up a win. That said, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Divine certainly being able to put a good name in for themselves here at the moment as well. They're up in 5th place, but haven't been able to have one of those big games just yet. So we'll be waiting to see that as well. Keep an eye on where this initial circle is going to pop, because that's going to tell us quite largely where we're going to end up going. And it's quite interesting. Right on top of Power Grid over El Pozo, San Martin, Picardo. Looks like Astra have managed to at least get Picardo, Xenox. If they're not getting Rozok, they're getting Picardo at least. So they get half of their normal drops.
It's something. You kind of take that, really. And that's the other thing as well. Going over to Miramar, the drop locations are going to change. Maybe a team who doesn't quite get their drop on Erangel has a few games where, either takes some figuring out or trying to contest it. But then we switch over to Miramar and they've got their drop. And I do find that's usually the case. Not always, and not for every team, not for everyone. But Miramar, there are seemingly more drops that are available for the taking, that teams can drop down and get what they want. If they don't get this drop, okay, that's fine. We go over here, it's fine. Whereas Erangel is a bit more iffy. It feels like there's not as many, and you can really have a few contests, and it's not too surprising.
Doesn't look like too many contests here on Miramar early on in the piece. Maximus and Nocturne have run into each other. Golden Cat seem quite aware of where Nocturne is. Tinoy and Tonkei are also hanging around here, so it's actually a 3-on-1 at the moment. Nocturne might not be feeling too happy here for Mulga Esports. Certainly not moving around at all, trying not to give away his position. But I think he has been spotted. The way that Golden Cat is sort of working together, Tinoy and Tonkei clearing buildings, they're going to try and trade out should push come to shove. They definitely know that he's here.
They know he's here, but this is the thing, Jordan. Do they know where he is? There's 2 ways of saying it. We know he's here, but where? And that's the problem.
I don't know exactly where, I guess. They're certainly looking for him.
Even if they group up together like they kind of are and sort of clear everything one by one, not one by one, but sort of 2 at a time, it's not that difficult for Nongtan to get a quick double kill. It's not impossible. If they push up these stairs, and while they are, as you can see, anticipate him to sort of be at any corner, they're oh man. It's like he knows. Maybe he heard Nocturne just slightly shuffle his feet. So he stops, he calls, comms. Is anyone moving? Is anyone close by that's moving? Now they've kind of got a bit of an idea. Okay, he's potentially up here. Try and bait him out. See if we make some noise. Maybe he moves. But I think that's what happened. I think Nocturne shuffled his feet. They heard it on the floorboard. That's why they kind of just stopped. Now peeks around the corner, gets the initial shot onto Tonkei to land, down to half health. Has, of course, Tanoi behind him for that reinforcement. But Nocturne just runs. He just books it out of there. That's the smart option. The coward's way out, but it's the smart way out.
Oh, the flash going behind him as well. I'm not sure there's too much cover. He does get behind the crates and a bit of safety here, but Golden Cat are certainly hot on his heels. And the shots do come through. He went left when he probably could have gone right. He's down to 15 HP, still surviving, but oh man, where do you go from here? He's just going to have to keep running. He sees the van to his right, but he doesn't have time to go for it. And I think Golden Cat are going to get this kill. Yeah, there's no way that he gets out of there. Unfortunate for Nocturne. He was just hunted. I guess, true to their name, Golden Cat, pretty solid hunters.
I mean, they played that out really well, right? If they had have just been lackadaisical, running around, not paying too much of attention, even if they had known someone was there, they really cleared everything out, made sure they were going together as a pair. So at the very worst case, someone gets knocked, but then you've got your partner there who can then get the refrag and trade back and at least make it a 1-for-1 at the worst case. But for the most part, you should always come out ahead on top. And Golden Cat do come out ahead on top. And it separates them from what was a three-way tie for fifth. Now they got fifth by themselves. Jet from Hoggy Esports, as easy as you like, against Entry Fragger. As they did lose, of course, Blay we just saw before, and, well, it at least makes up for Nocturne going out.
I suppose Moggy at the moment in third place, though, so they'd be wanting to put some good solid games on the board. They don't really want to be having to play with three. You know, a trade of 1 point for a player is probably not exactly what they're looking for. Extremes managed to get himself a knock onto Flash from Day Trade. I'm having a bit of a look at the mini-map, and it doesn't look like that's going to be a kill that'll be flushed in the near future. Just a long-range kill from what I could imagine. Gearbox on a big rotate down through the southern part of the map. Most teams are getting themselves comfortably into that first circle. Carnage will be a little bit late. MSC up toward the north, coming in from a different direction to most. So if we do get a hard northern shift, MSC will be pretty happy to see that. There's certainly a lot of real estate that's being occupied down toward the southern part of the map. So if we really want to get the ideal game out of this one here on Miramar, I dare say we'd be looking down towards a southern hard shift.
Get a reminder for those maybe not aware, PCS_map on Twitch for the full stream of just the map. 2 minutes and 15 seconds until the end of phase one. DIC Gaming, well, pretty much in the middle of the pack down the bottom though. It's not been the start they would have liked so far, but heading over to Miramar, things may look up for them. Finds a knock onto Niku's. But such is the way of Miramar. It's very difficult to convert knocks into kills. And also, of course, they're running across the street, like we saw earlier with Nocturne. Bahamut Gaming struggling last place. And, well, I got to say, things have not looked up for them so far. They're another one, Jordan, that needs to come over to Miramar and hope their fortunes change.
Yeah, certainly. Someone that we kind of expected to perform when, for example, what Archangel Predator was able to do in the charity showdown. And I think they took third place, if I'm remembering correctly. You know, a good solid showing for the Philippines region from their only team in the competition. But so far, Bahamut is not being able to live up to that hype. 15th place, 14th place, and 11th place. So they're yet to even make it into the placement points, Xenox. And their 3 points are coming from kills, which is not ideal at all. Fury Australia is a team that has not struggled at all to get into the placements, but the kills have been eluding them a little bit more so than some of the other teams. So a lot of their points are coming from those placements.
Slow start on Miramar, not too much of a surprise, really. Erangel was, of course, very dicey at times. You had some very hectic early circles. With the circle, of course, on Miramar, usually going to be on the land. Very predictable circles as well on Miramar. Gearbox going to lose Jun to Hisaki and Smell with a bit of an ambitious spray with the barrel. Cerberus Esports, the team to beat right now. They've got the form, they've got the momentum heading on over to Miramar. Good start. Gearbox have Well, I've got to say, probably been the recipients of quite a lot of circles on Erangel, and that's not going to be the case here. Just coming out of Veladon Mar now, having to push up north. 13 seconds until we get our phase 2 circle. Yeah, so you're not moving, and Jowman's still very close by for Q confirmed. Not much changing in that situation.
Next circle will go central. That means all those teams that were grouped up down towards La Cabrera, down towards Chumacera, are going to have to move up towards the northern side of the map. Picado's still in the mix, so Astra won't have to move too much. They've got Fury close by. Big spray from Jowman, but he won't be able to get the knock onto those DIC players that are rotating on the motorbike.
Oh man, this has been a rough game for Monkey Esports so far. Now they lose Gakon as well. Only what, 2 players remaining for them after what was a pretty decent match 3 on Erangel. It's got them into the top 3. Coming over to Miramar has been less than ideal for now, but at least Golden Cat are going to get Tonkei back up, so they don't lose anyone for that either. In the end, that works out well for them. Unfortunately, this might not work out well for B2, surely. Genforce, Samoy from Victor Rise. Both unsuccessful? Never mind, that is successful. Blow up equals kill equals happy face.
Well, not if you're B2. He was picking up a bit of pace going down that hill. Honestly, I thought he might be able to get out of there, even despite losing the wheels. Not the case, though. Monty will be rotating past VTR as well.
Are they just like camping Carnage coming out of Chumacera or something? Why? This is bizarre.
I guess they might have had an idea that Carnage was still in Chumacera, and well, I don't know that this is going to end well for Monty at all. Shots are coming through. He's gotten himself into the safety of the town, but continues on forward. Has to go up the hill, and this is where it becomes problematic because you lose momentum, and he jumps out of the vehicle a little bit too early, expecting it probably to blow up. All that happens is he knocks himself out, and that's an easy kill for Genforce to pick up. So VTR are happy. They've picked up 2 points. Going to need a lot more of those Enox to get themselves off the bottom of the scoreboard.
Yeah, out of the bottom 2 or 3 or so. But really all it takes, since we're this early on still, is all it takes is probably one really good game and you'll launch up the standings. Divine Esports now pushing over to QC. Man, they've been in and amongst it early on here as well. You know, we've seen Jowman before close by to DIC. That sort of became a bit of a stalemate. Fortunately for maybe more so DIC with the way Q Confirm have been playing. But now they're up to their eyeballs against Divine Esports. Svit and Jowman combined. They'll get the elimination onto Turtle. So 3 more members of Divine to deal with. Divine have, while being kind of a disappointment so far, at least for me, I was expecting them to be in the top 3-4 contesting teams. And again, kind of like Charity Showdown, they have just been inconsistent. NAMC, Levi's remain as the last 2 alive. They might have to just ditch this situation, Jordan, get out of here, move away from Q Confirm.
Yeah, they certainly do have to move. Circle's going to be shifting in just a moment. Q Confirm down to Gems, Jayas, and Jowman, but they're a little bit more central than some of the other teams, so they'll be okay for the moment. Levi's on the rotate in here alongside NAMC. Where is this next circle going to go? I think that's the real question. Are we going to get another hard shift? Because things seem to have calmed down a little bit in Game 3 and Game 4. So teams are starting to think that it might be heading a little bit more central as opposed to going for that hard shift. We're going to get a good idea in just a second. 7 seconds. Everyone's quite happy where they are, apart from VTR and Gearbox. Where the next circle goes is going to change things quite substantially, though. You can see Fury have got that 2-2 split. Jukesy and Waikakamukau are inside the circle. This is where it gets interesting, right? Because the teams down toward Picado are going to want to get up on top of that cliff. Theoretically, this is going to go back to the north, back over Power Grid. So no one wants to get stuck down in Picado, and you have to go up that cliff early. If you don't get up first, you might not get up at all.
And the 2 remaining for Carnage, Rain, and Bryn. Slopping and sliding their way past Monte Nuevo. There probably wasn't a lot of expectations for Carnage coming into this tournament in terms of how they were going to be able to perform. I probably likened them to Ferox in the Charity Showdown from Oceania. As they head over to Day Trade, Poochills is going to be watching close by. Well, what in the hell are you guys doing? That's not one way to... whatever. Looked like Spider-Man trying to climb up the wall with the Murado. Bryn's the loss with Alive for Carnage. And, well, it has been a bit of carnage for them in this game, particularly. They hadn't been too bad over the first 3 games, but that was a bit of a stinker here on Miramar. 1 game to go for them. Speaking of a stinker, Yoshi Mimburi has been stinking it up over the first 3 games, Jordan, but now, with a bit of help from Rossiter Jr., might just be able to turn his fortunes as well around on Miramar.
Yeah, for MSC, they had a decent first game, but haven't really been able to put anything on the board past that. Right now, though, they're not inside the circle. They're up to the north, and they do have to go through a team, so they'll probably not have the easiest of times getting into this circle. Having started off with a knock, though, onto entry fragger of Sentinel Shooter does make life a little bit easier for them, I dare say. You're going to start to see some rotations in on the map. I can see at the moment Bahamut Gaming is heading in the direction of what we were just looking at, that engagement between MSC and Sentinel Shooter. Maogi, or rather just Jet, the remaining player of Maogi, is going to be trying to get himself into the circle, but I don't know how he's going to be able to get past Cerberus, to be quite honest with you, Xenox. This is bullying at its finest.
I mean, well, instead of going through them, I guess you could just go around them, depending if that's an available option for him. Does have a vehicle, so we head over to Buri Ram. Cubmeow had a tumble. He'll be fine. He'll get revived. Ahumat Gaming up north. 35 seconds remaining until we head to phase 4. Eagle Sentinel Shooter and Bahamut both up north. So a couple of the sort of lesser performing teams so far around the northern part of the circle. Jexy, man, Vandals still remaining for Eagle Sentinel. There is Jet, and well, he has been able to make his way around Cerberus. Actually, over towards Genvos from Victim Rise.
Heel's going to come off for Genvos, so he'll be okay. Grenade in hand. Jet may have a rude awakening. That doesn't look too bad, but it might not quite go deep enough. He'll survive for now, keeping an eye on that circle shift. It has gone, as expected, up towards Power Grid. So those teams that have gotten onto the cliff ahead of everyone else, looking at Astra in particular, might have a bit of a farm ahead of them. If Fury go up the cliff, same for Gearbox. Daytrade hanging around to the left, the western side of that cliff, could be another team that picks up a few kills as a result of this circle shift. But you'd be looking at DIC and teams like MSC, who are center circle, to be feeling like they might pick up a win in this game.
Surely, I was going to say, surely they don't know Jet's there, but apparently they do. And because of the fact that they do know Jet's there, I don't really give Jet much of a chance. Does get a knockdown onto Chibrit. Birit. That's all it's going to be, though, as Genforce was there. 2v1 was always going to be tough. And, well, I mentioned Yoshi before. Jordan, unfortunately, he just can't get anything to go his way. 0 kills and probably about 10 minutes total of playtime over 4 matches now. It's been a disaster. MSC still sitting in 7th place, though, considering their star player, the MVP of the Thailand series, hasn't even been able to run around the map, let alone shoot anyone.
Yeah, that said, they've got themselves a relatively okay position here. They're in towards the center of the circle, and it's a defendable spot as well with a lot of defilade to play with. So they may have their fortunes turning around here in Game 4 of tonight on Miramar. A team that will probably not want their fortunes to change too much is Fury, who have been putting good placements on the board, but they're inevitably going to have to move pretty shortly, and I am very concerned about their rotation in, because Astra is right on top of the cliff, right on top of Fury. If they try to go up there, they're going to be in trouble. Similar to what we're seeing here for VTR, who are trying to rotate into a position that has already got players occupying that real estate.
Not just occupying the position, but also teams that have eyes on this position from other angles further down south, like Daytrade Gaming, for instance. Golden Cat's kind of above this situation as well. On your mini-map, they're going to be pushing in towards Cerberus and Victim Rise, potentially third-partying, really, I guess, both teams as Hasaki up into the front lines against Kamals. Only the 1 kill this game so far for Cerberus, but potentially some more to follow very quickly here. If they can wipe out Victim Rise, maybe Golden Cat could be the next team that they could potentially shift to, because that's what Cerberus does best. Take the fight, edge of zone, win it, move and rotate to the next fight, win that one. And that's why we saw them get that 17 kill win earlier on in the night. Hello, kill feed, and goodbye, MSC.
Not sure what happened there. Don't even ask. It happened. That's all I can say. Divine only had 2 players alive, so I'm not sure how they've really gotten rid of all of MSC, but either way, they have. Hey, Saki will try to fire a few shots into Gen Foss, who is one of the remaining members of VTR. Cerberus have lost Subang. Right now, he's lying on the floor, and not quite finished off. That's given the opportunity for Smell to peak. You can't be missing those kinds of shots. As Genfos, Subang remains alive and Kamal's is finished as well. Cerberus negotiating another fight quite effectively and put themselves back into first place, overtaking Q Confirm again.
Uchil still knocked down, but 4 kills for Day Trade. Make it 6 with a couple of Gearbox players bleeding out and dying. 11 teams remain, and what was a very slow start on Miramar now, of course, has turned into a chaos fireball towards the end of Phase 4. Now heading into Phase 5. Northern shift to Power Grid. Divine in a great position. They're going to love this. Even the teams up north, Bahuma and Eagle Sentinel Shooter, will be feeling quite blessed with that sort of circle. Day Trade still just trying to keep Cerberus at bay, which they're doing a pretty good job of right now, considering that blue zone's right on their backs as he's going to start moving in 30 seconds' time. Basil's knocked down. And for Cerberus, could this be an early finish for them at the hands of Day Trade? Or do they fight their way through like they always have? Golden Cat up north's not making it easy, though.
It's not an easy team to deal with, I don't think, for Day Trade, to be honest, who have still been struggling. Cerberus certainly leading from the front at the moment. So if you had to hedge your bets here, you'd probably be going with Cerberus. They have a 4-on-4. Smell does get quite low as a result of that molly that's thrown in his position. It's actually a 4-on-3. They trade 6 kills in this game, so they've been in the wars a little bit in game number 4, the first one on Miramar for PCS APAC. But they've been getting through those engagements okay. A little bit concerning, though, to be going up against a team like Cerberus and losing a lot of HP early on in the piece. And what's even more concerning, Zoidmate here with a grenade in hand. He spotted Venotica, throws the grenade just perhaps a little bit too deep. It's going to explode right in front of Venotica. He'll survive for now and slow things down.
So he's got to be careful that he doesn't just run in there by himself, though. He has to make sure he waits with the rest of his team. Yeah, and that's exactly what's happening. They're all going in one by one. He leaves the front, does get knocked down. Immediately, Venotica just goes for the flush, executes it. I mean, you can't really blame Venotica in that situation. Needs to get every point that he can feasibly get. He's obviously not going to be able to transfer and get another 2 or 3 knockdowns to result in a team wipe against Astra. Goes for Zoid. Smart play. In the end, not able to cover Zoid quick enough to make sure he doesn't get flushed. Cerberus, though, I mean, look, this is why you don't count them out. They've been able to sort of hold steady out to the southwest, able to really not be too deterred by that blue zone. And in the end, they come out on top against Day Trade Gaming, despite the fact that they were in the worst position for quite a while. In saying that, Golden Cat hadn't really third-partied the way that I thought maybe they would. They didn't really push into it. Now they finally make their presence known. Not only them, but so has Astra. From above a little bit, well, technically it's above, but also below. They got a high ground, but they're technically south, as we're 20 seconds away now from phase number 6. Power Grid and Buriram United, QC still there as well on the south side of Power Grid, and a couple of the teams still up north. Bahuma, Eagle Sentinel Shooter. All they've done in this game, Jordan, is go from the north side of that road to the south side of it.
Indeed, Buriram, though, one of the teams I'd like to focus on because they're a team that, well, okay,
oh wow,
I've gotten a bit of a circle shift, but what I was going to say was a team that really performed quite well in the charity showdown, as we see Cerberus out in 7th place, but haven't been able to get the ball rolling too much here today in day number 1 of PCS APAC. They're in 8th at the moment, 20 points on the board, but this game seems like it's really ramping up right nicely for Buriram.
Nicely for a couple of teams, not just Buriram. I think they're in the best place position, but even a team like Bahuma Gaming, if you maybe put their sort of skill set aside and you think just position could make something of this game if everything goes their way. Astra still 2 players, Q Confirm still 2 players alive. Gems and Jowman, usually the dynamic duo for Q Confirm that we saw a lot of in the charity showdown. Still first place is theirs once again with Cerberus departing. And you just wonder maybe if you've got a 2-horse race on your hand here. A long way to go, but Loki, Fury, Divine, are they going to be able to keep up with the pace? Of course, though, the leaderboard is 6th, 7th, and 8th, all still alive in Golden Cat, Astra, Buriram. Those teams are all capable, Jordan, of being able to keep up the pace. They've just got to sort of now work their way back up the leaderboard after a slow first 2 games. And they're kind of doing that slowly, matches 3 and now matches 4.
Tinoy going to get res back on up by Tong Golden Cat, certainly in the mix. 6th place at the moment. what is a little bit concerning for most of these teams that are trying to catch the leaders is that Q Confirm do still have 2 players alive down towards the southern end of the circle, but man, they're already still kind of putting their mark onto this game. The knock onto Nikus is finished off by Tom K, so those points are stolen. Maximus in trouble now. Edie spamming through that smoke, won't be able to finish Maximus off, but he might not last too long. He is bleeding out quite quickly. Copped a couple of shots after he was knocked. Tinoy looking for the res and might just get it, but Eagle Sentinel Shooter, a team that has been really looking to turn their fortunes around, might just be doing that on Miramar. They're alive. Haven't got any kills yet, but they're in the placement points. It's a start.
Golden Cat have worked their well back up these standings, turning their fortunes around, as you said. Eagle Sentinel Shooter have an opportunity, but I'm not sure how much of it. Buriram United certainly the best placed team. They're going to be able to spot teams like Bahuma, Eagle Sentinel Shooter, Golden Cat. Really, Gems and Jowman are in a really good spot considering they're south of Buriram. They're not going to be spotted by Buriram, and they don't have to put themselves in a position where Golden Cat and Eagle Sentinel Shooter can see them. So, I mean, this wouldn't be a surprise to see Golden Cat end well here in terms of the placements, although, of course, the circle moves away from them as I'm speaking about it. Phase 7 shifts up north again. It has basically been attracted to Bahuma Gaming this entire match.
Man, they've been needing some luck, to be honest. They've got 6
Yes.
points on the board. 16 is their placement at the moment, but I dare say that should be changing in just a little bit. They've got 4 players alive. They've got Buriram to deal with, to be fair, and Golden Cat also have 4 players, so there's a couple of threatening teams. And Sentinel Shooters are also quite close by, but you couldn't really ask for a better chance here for Bahamut Gaming. They have been really struggling today, and it seems like the circles have started to favor them a little bit on Miramar. So sometimes you can talk about luck in a game like PUBG, but I think what really encapsulates PUBG is taking advantage of your luck and taking advantage of the opportunities that are given to you. So here is one for Bahamut Gaming. And if they're not able to take control of it, if they're not able to convert this into at least a decent scoring game, it doesn't necessarily have to be a win, but if they can't convert it into 10 or 15 points on the board, then I think you can start to write them off, because everything seems to be going in their favor, and you have to be able to make these games converted into something decent.
Well, it's easier said than done, but you're right. When you get sort of given these opportunities, got to make them count. You're not going to get too many of them. And a team like Bahuma Gaming might not be the sort of team that can put themselves in the best positions on a regular basis. What's intriguing to me is whether or not Q Confirm get involved. They're down south. They're behind Buriram. I'm not sure if Buriram know of their position. If they can find a knock, even just a knock at this point, might just be enough to throw Buriram off the pedestal here for match number 4. Jowman still creeping around. Does spot Kanaxi, who's low. A spray won't be too much. Oh, to take him down. Never mind. Oh, Edie right in front of him at the tree. Nice spray from Jowman. That's the sort of knock that I was talking about, because now it really throws a spanner in the works for Buriram. Only 3 up. Gems is still in a position, of course, where he can also maybe get 1 more. And all of a sudden, then maybe they're down to 2 alive. I'm not sure why you're jumping around like that, Nordra. Not ideal. Final nade available for Gems to God Meow and Konaxi. God Meow's going to throw one over. A couple of Molotovs as well from Buriram towards his position. Gems will finish off Nordra. Buriram down to 2 players. They sat idly by south of the circle, and Buriram in the end are going to be punished for that by Q Confirm. 7 kills now for them, an extra 2 kills on the board. Gems is blinded at the rock. Well played in the end. God Meow will flush out Gems, and they've still got 2 alive. Now it's a 4 versus 2 versus 3 versus 4. Golden Cat, are they in a position here where they can wipe out Eagle Sentinel Shooter? Flash on a 6 sacks. Somehow Jexy staying alive with this truck. Not for too much longer. Did get the knockdown onto Tom K, and now Vendel is the last one alive for Eagle Sentinel Shooter. Sin Ryuji pushes over the hill. 3 teams remain now. Buriram, Bahuma, and Golden Cat. This is a big one now for Golden Cat. You said Bahuma, Jordan, has to capitalize off this game. Well, Golden Cat from here on out might have to capitalize a bit more. Although, it's looking tough. I think they're down to just 2 standing, Maximus and 6 sacks.
Yeah, there's no way you're getting Tonke back up there. The zone is moving. They're going to have to get a wriggle on. Buriram down to 1 at the moment, but the res coming across from Kanaxi. God Meow should be okay. In this meanwhile, Golden Cat are pushing in their direction. This is for second place at the very least. Golden Cat certainly putting as much into this game as they can. But still the likely victor. They have the numbers, but there's still extra points on the board. Second place, a couple of extra points and a couple of extra kills as well for either Golden Cat or Buriram. Buriram do have the height advantage though, and they'll get the first shots. That's under 6 sacks. He's down low, hides behind the tree, but knocked. Maximus trades one back, but how much more can he get? God Meow's down low. This is for second, and he does manage it. I think he just got it done before Bahamut wins. It was an anticlimax, I would say, for Bahamut. I'm not sure how many kills they ended up on.
3.
Wait. Well, it's not too bad, but 10 points on the board for them from the placements. That's what they want. Golden Cat did indeed take second place, and Buriram took third. So it was really a second in it there for Golden Cat, whether they died first or second, and well, they died second. And so they get 14 points out of that game. A good one for Golden Cat to come back into the swing of things. Nice to see Bahamut having a bit of success as well there, but Buriram, only 11 points out of that game, probably feeling a little bit unhappy after that.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there. And what's intriguing about this leaderboard in particular is it's probably the first one tonight that doesn't have first place soaking up like a ridiculous amount of points, 18 plus usually. So a bit more of a spread for some of these points. Q Confirm picking up 10 of them though, of course, sitting in first place, kind of widens their gap from the teams that didn't perform in this particular game, the MSCs, the Furies, the Moggy Esports, those teams that were still contending around that particular area. Cerberus with 5 points, that's okay, that's not too bad. You know, if that's one of your worst games, which is 5 points, Jordan, you're going to end up having a pretty good tournament. Astra thereabouts as well with 8 points too to round it up. So in the end, Miramar sort of just shaking things up a little bit compared to Erangel.
Yeah, what I will say though for Q Confirm, and something that they're quite consistent in doing, is turning their bad games into half-decent games. Obviously, there is that outlier when you all get knocked out in 16th place. Like, that happens sometimes. But a couple of players alive there, get them into a 5th place, I think it was in the end. Couple of kills on the board, ruining Buriram's day as well. And so getting those extra points that, you know, some teams aren't able to sort of convert a second sort of a chance in a way, you know, 2 players alive. And again, that's kind of put Q Confirm back up to the top. I think they're always consistent in terms of just being a bit of a pest, getting extra points on the board where other teams might not be able to do, and slugging away and keeping themselves in the mix.
Yeah, as we see the total leaderboard that has now been updated after our 4 games that have been played so far today. 16 games to go though, Jordan. I know we're only 4 games in, but 16 doesn't seem like a lot. Fortunately for everyone involved, the gaps kind of started to slow a bit. The train that sort of departed the station after 2 games for Q Confirm has slowed down. Cerberus weren't able to back up their match 3 performance going into Miramar. So that's given the likes of like Golden Cat, Moggy Esports, Buriram has gone from like 3rd last now to 5th quickly. Fury still thereabouts. Divine's still thereabouts. Astra's moved into the top 8. And then you look over to the right-hand side of the leaderboard, Gearbox, MSC, both still on 19 points. You know, they're only 13 points behind 3rd place typically. So still ridiculously close. The margins are slim. And it's hard to even have a sort of line where you draw and say, right, these teams don't have much of a chance. What I will say is still now 3 teams have not picked up any placement points. Day Trade, Carnage, and Victim Rise. No surprise to see Carnage and Victim Rise then in second last because of that.
Day Trade have been putting some frags on the board, though. You got to give them credit there. So I guess if they can shore up some of those holes in terms of the placement points, maybe it's the rotations that are letting them down a little bit, and avoid the earlier engagements. It certainly seems like they're being able to win a lot of the engagements that they're getting into when you consider that they're fragging even to the level that Astra is, who's in 8th place overall. Can't complain too much, I guess, for Day Trade. It's just a case of shoring up some of those holes. Across the rest of the scoreboard, nothing too crazy to comment on. Bahamut Gaming, I guess, is looking like a bit of an outlier with the chicken dinner, but being one of the teams that's still quite substantially down towards the bottom end of the standings. What I'd really like from next game, Xenox, is maybe a big one from Astra, Divine, or Fury. Even Buriram, put them in that discussion there as well to sort of give us a bit more of a challenge up towards the top 3.
I'm thinking MSC as well in terms of that list. You know, Gearbox is on the same points as MSC, both on 19. I do feel like MSC have got a higher potential ceiling compared to Gearbox. They just haven't been able to sort of get going. They feel like a team to me like stuck in quicksand right now. Yoshi keeps dying immediately. He's meant to be their star player, the MVP from the Thailand series, and hasn't been able to put a foot right at the moment after 4 matches. It feels like, hey, imagine if this MVP that they've got, that, they spent this money on to get. Imagine if he starts to play to his full potential, the possibilities for MSC to then climb up the leaderboard. So eyes on them. We've got 1 game remaining for tonight here for PCS1 APAC. It's on the other side of this break.